The following episode is created purely for entertainment purposes as a tribute to the elitists of the 90s that made it harder for all of us to get into goth in the first place. All references to people, places, and companies are used in service of satire. Guests are playing satirical characters, and as such, any opinions are exaggerated and distorted for humorous intent and do not reflect the beliefs of the individuals, the podcast, or the network and its affiliates.
Warning. The following program is rated E for elitist. If you're prone to rage-induced seizures, suffer from the inability to appreciate sarcasm, spend most of your free time on Tumblr, or think that The Beautiful People is a goth anthem, immediately turn this episode off and proceed to your nearest medical professional. For everyone who hasn't been diagnosed with a case of the butt hurts, prepare for the year's most epic bitch fest. Today, the internet stands trial for its crimes against goth. All shall kneel and prepare for judgment before the mighty Gothquisition.
You are listening to Cemetery Confessions, the world's #1 goth talk podcast.
It is time for the goddamn Gothquisition. I know, a lot of you have been saying we aren't relevant anymore, we aren't necessary, we don't need the arrogant, elitist, sneering goth gods of the internet to gatekeep anymore. I mean, just look at the state of things. We went into our coffins for 2 years, and the most important subcultural work of our generation was released onto streaming services. Yes, that's right, I'm talking about My Summer as a Goth. So we know that Jillian Venters is going to let you underage drink and drive, and there isn't going to be a single Hiroshima track on the entire film soundtrack.
Do you think that I'm a real goth?
No. I think that you're a real mess.
That's right, I've got fucking sound effects this time.
Me.
But anyway, before I get too sidetracked and unhinged, it is the fucking Gothquisition back again to save goth from itself. It's the return of goths who can tell you about the relevance of 70s synth punk bands like the Screamers and the Units to the LA death rock scene, then snort coke off the bathroom sink and berate you over your pathetic record collection for the rest of the night. That's right, we're here to bitch and moan like a 90s goth complaining about how hard the mission sold out, or pissing on Valor's Christian death to anyone who will listen, or scoff at anyone who doesn't know the difference between the sisters and the sisterhood. So to all the posers who are as fake as the wig on that guy from the Crook Shadows, your time has come. You might still be thinking, it's the 6th goddamn episode of this tripe. This must be the point at which the Gothquisition jumps the shark, just like that time London After Midnight was on the Montel Williams show, and they called Brennan a vampire leader. Well, as a wise person once said, EBM keeps the casual, passionless people busy, so the rest of us can concentrate on real music.
Poser!
Alright, enough of that. It's time to introduce our inquisitors. I'm Danny Ashes, host of the Cemetery Confessions podcast, and we are here with a modified cabal this time around. Some of our other inquisitors are unfortunately too busy beating posers with Young Limbs and Numb Hymns vinyl reprints in real life to make it today, but they are here with us in our dark hearts, and I fully support them in all their endeavors. Of the original Gothquisitioners keeping the posers at bay long before you baby bats busted your first nut to Peter Murphy's cheekbones is ATAC. An actual goth dad, but I just call him Daddy. His troll accounts are as prolific as the block lists he's on. ATAC has been goth since the 90s, at one point working as a bouncer at a goth club, which is as close to state-sanctioned gatekeeping as you can get in the goth scene. They've also been DJing in Australia for nearly 15 years, and you can find them online as DJ ATAC. or DJ Jelly on Mixcloud and various social media platforms. In fact, he's probably already in the process of revoking your Goth card as we speak.
Hand in your Goth card! You are banished!
So that's my favorite one. As I mentioned, we have a bit of a lineup change, so for the rest of our conclave of sneering elite, tell us who you are and why we should care. Why don't we start with Sanctus Mania?
A lot of people will know me for having been born into the goth and death rock scene. My parents were part of the original House of Usher scene in Berkeley, California before I moved over to San Francisco. And so I consider myself half goth, half death rocker because I'm from California.
Hell yeah.
And why you should care? Honestly, I don't fucking know.
You're on the Gothquisition.
care.
Everyone is legally required to care. It's in the contract they signed with Satan.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Why people should care? Because I've been around long enough to witness the goth scene evolve and change over the years, throughout the 90s and up until now. I'm very familiar with it, almost have an encyclopedic knowledge of it. I grew up in it. It's my life, you know?
Excellent. Detra?
Hey, DJ Detra, one half of the Sisters of Mondays Twitch show. I've been, calling myself a goth for about 28 years, in between that somewhere. I've been DJing for about 15 years. I do nights 1313 here in San Antonio, Texas. I've DJed for like a lot of bands that come around San Antonio. And yeah, I can only just talk about my experiences going through the scene and just how I experienced it.
A sweet angel, basically. A sweet angel, for real.
Mary?
I'm DJ Mary Millions. I've been calling myself punk/goth for 20 years now, I guess. Well, I'm one half of Sisters of Mondays. I started DJing at a pirated radio station actually in Austin called Chaos Radio. It had many FM stations in Austin. Been shut down by the FCC a few times. I was there a few times, and my old DJ name was Night Train. After I'm on the Night Train. I love that stuff because I used to drink Night Train because I'm punk trash. But yeah, I'm just here to, be a sassy, get fat and sassy, Love you guys. Angels.
And Caroline.
Hey, so I'm Caroline Carnivorous from Norway. I'm here to bring the age difference between everyone dramatically down. I'm probably the youngest here, aren't I? I've been doing lots of different things, mostly on the internet. Like I've been blogging, moderating different goth communities online, DJing a bit. In person, I've tried to do a few meetups here and there. I've managed to be kind of the glue in rebuilding the Norwegian goth scene again. Not much else. You shouldn't really care.
All right, well, it's time for the lot of you to put on your crushed velvet capes and pull your finger out, or put it in if you're into that kind of thing, because we've got an internet to ridicule.
What? Am I, not invited or something?
I have to admit, I'm a little nervous you might feel uncomfortable.
Why would I be uncomfortable?
Because these are real goths. You might feel like kind of a poser.
I never thought of myself as a poser.
You can't just dye your hair and change your clothes for the summer and expect everyone to accept you as one of our own. It's not just a scene, it's a way of life.
Thanks, Victor. All right, it's our first article.
Okay, baby.
is from the fucking Guardian, and it's called Back to Black, Goths Go Mainstream in Corsets, Leather, and Lace.
Oh my god.
So let's get into this fresh hell. It starts by saying, it's been 20 years since pallid faces, dark eyes, and black clothes haunted UK secondary schools and shopping centers. While some might argue they never left, merely retreating into the shadows, the consensus for 2022 is that goth style is returning to mainstream culture with a vengeance. There are some differences this time. The modern goth is more likely to take inspiration from ultra-glam, hot goth girlfriends such as Kourtney Kardashian and Megan Fox, and the fashion world darlings Rick Owens and Yohei Yamamoto, and the Marilyn Manson loving self-proclaimed outsiders of the early 2000s.
You know, the greats.
Yeah.
Have you watched Benny Drama on Instagram? I know you don't go on Instagram much, but Benny Drama does a parody of Kourtney Kardashian's goth, her I guess coming up of. I don't know what she's going through. She's with a rocker, quote unquote rocker boyfriend now. So now she's some rock and roll girl, and he's been doing parodies of her. It's really amazing. I should listen to you. But
is she the one with MGK or the one? Actually, no,
yeah,
I don't
she's
care.
the one with
Oh,
MGK, the rocker of rockers.
Yeah, yeah. He's the one who cried about not being emo enough on somewhere, right? TikTok or something. Yeah.
Imagine crying about not being emo enough. Wow. They do that today. Oh, they can
Sigh.
They do that these days.
It's just weird because it's like these kinds of articles always seem to pop up every few years. You know, just some celebrity is just wearing all black. Well,
Rick Owens.
She must be having a goth phase again. Goth is back, baby.
Terry Mugler also. I mean, a lot of the cultural iconic fashion designers, Terry Mugler, Rick Owens, are actually really good goth designers. Yes, they are, and they've had really good runways and stuff like that. Because I love fashion, whatever. I have style, but wouldn't call me fashionable. But a lot of these new, it's just a lot of this new stuff is just. It's cringy. That article was hard to get through. I'm just saying. I
always forget that people call celebrities goths, every however long, because I don't read them anymore. I've been in goth for too long. It just reading this feels like an alien wrote this article. Or actually, it might have been the writer for My Summer as a Goth actually who wrote this. That would make sense to me.
It's always against my will that I hear it because everyone's posting the link to the article all over Facebook. And so I check it out just to see how cringy it is, and they just say the same thing basically. It's it's corporate America selling goth back at you.
Yeah.
And they're selling their shitty celebrities with it that have absolutely nothing to do with the scene. It's they don't do any homework. That's weird.
Well, yeah, I mean that is the generational divide, right? The trad goth Mansonites and of the past, and the big titty goth girlfriends of the future.
Save your
big titty goth girlfriends of the future.
Yeah. What did they say? Ultra glam. I always thought Robert Smith's hot goth grandma makeup was the ultra glam of the goth scene, but
I thought that was Aerosmith ultra glam.
Yeah. I still honestly Manson being a cultural touchstone for goth still, after all those years I spent as a kid having his name yelled at me.
Really?
And all the abuse stories coming out about him now, and he's still showing up in the dog shit on the bottom of my pikes are more goth than Manson or the Kardashians.
Yeah, and even after the immediate pushback of the 90s when, goths were just up and down denying him, from the get-go, it's just, it's weird that it's still pervasive.
I'm having flashbacks to ATAC's appearance on our previous Gothquisition episode. All right, I'll move on here. We'll get some more commentary. They are also more likely to integrate elements of a darker style of dressing into their wardrobes than to subscribe to a whole culture and lifestyle, with shopping platforms and social media sites reporting huge increases in searching for the word goth. Quote, at one point, there was an idea that goth was strange and unusual, but it doesn't feel that way anymore. I wouldn't like to say it's mainstream, but it's much more visible, unquote, said Catherine Spooner, a professor at Lancaster University who specializes in Gothic culture. And I would just like to say, as a point of order, I think the implication there is specializing in Gothic culture is that she specializes in Goth culture. I would argue she specializes in Gothic literature.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's like such a tiny quote from what I assume is probably a longer interview, and it's probably taken out of context anyway in this terrible article, which is, why we're here to gatekeep, right? But
it's been around for 40 years now. I mean, I think it's a household word now that I think everyone has heard of. So I guess it's not that unusual to see a goth, even though it's still, especially around here in Texas, it's, you still get looks and everything
oddly
for it.
in here in Texas.
But yeah, I guess maybe it's just not considered that unique and weird because it's been around for so long. So who hasn't heard of a goth,
I think it's still weird, but it's not shocking anymore.
Yeah. That's exactly right. I think so too.
I think the thing though is they're talking about mainstreaming of the fashion, because the fashion's not weird anymore, which is the whole thing.
Is that mainstream fashion really the goth fashion, or is it just a celebrity dressed in all black?
Right.
See? I mean, yeah. They're not really, dressing, in trad goth uniform or anything. It's just, they're just wearing all black and calling it.
They're being styled by a stylist that knows what the latest fashion trends are, basically.
It's Versace.
That's a great point.
Yeah. Yeah. They're being styled by somebody, so, I mean, and whatever. That's it. Basically.
Wake me up when Kim Kardashian's in the Death Hawk,
I'm sure she already has been.
I mean, and I think that's why we beat the goth as a music-based subculture drum to keep the posers from thinking they can sit at our table, right?
Well, it's also like Joe said on a later Gothquisition, said that there's a difference between being fashionable and having style. So like you can have style and not have really good fashion, or you can be fashionable and know brands but not really have style. So there's a big difference between style and fashion, I think. And that's that's a really big difference between like these big celebrities that are like taking our culture and
they borrow it.
They borrow it. They're I don't want to say, but they're taking our culture, and it's like they're being styled. It's fashion to them. It's not really style. It's not a style. It's not a lifestyle. Does that make sense?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's going back to Dietrich's point, like that's why it's a great reason for all the communist goths to start recruiting and become completely ungovernable, because it's like the trying to absorb goth into the capitalist marketplace and sell it as a branding signifier. So the narrative of what goth is becomes this corporation thing. You have the Target, welcome to the goth side of Target thing.
Yeah, they want to own the narration because they don't own the music,
right? And so that they sell your identity back to you,
right?
And
exactly.
And then the thing that because like if we're talking about fashion, the DIY aspect of goth I think is inherently anti-capitalist.
Yeah.
And so instead of being about music or being political, even dare I say that word, what goth is you give your money to this multi-billion-dollar corporation instead of people in your scene that are putting that money, you give them back into the scene. You instead of like trading vinyl with your friends or buying vinyl from like people at a mom and pop shop in your scene or something like that, you're giving it to just a faceless corporation, right? So don't buy your fucking records or boots from Target.
And perfume. Buy your perfume from local goth perfumers because there's so many of them. Oh my gosh.
All around here.
Yeah.
Moon, Seance, like they're amazing.
I will drive to your house and beat you to death with my winkle pickers if you buy from Target, your goth clothes from Target.
And Target this year did not have good blankets. Just saying, Halloween blankets, they didn't.
No, they did not.
Usually do.
Target's okay if you want some basics, but that's about it. It can give you a foundation to build on.
It is just really interesting to me that Target would make a whole goth section in their online store. It's just funny. I don't know. It's more comical than
it is pretty funny
for me to even be.
The real question is, do they have balls to do it at the real store?
Yeah, exactly.
No, you'll never see it. No, you'll never see it at the real store.
No. I think they're just reselling their Halloween stuff.
Yeah.
On Goth.
Year round.
Because the quality's not bad. I mean,
well, it's Target.
A lot of
the thing
kids,
is, like, it's like, who is it? It's made by people making poverty wages too, right? And
totally.
People.
It's not that great a quality, really, but I mean.
So we'll move on here. Andrew Groves, professor of fashion design at the University of Westminster, sees the new goth style as a reaction to the preening, gym-honed, Instagram-filtered perfection of the 2010s. Quote, "It has become unappealing." Instead, I was going to do a British accent there for a second, and I thought better of myself. Instead, smudged eyeliner, bitten oxblood lips, and a deathly pallor have once again become enticing, unquote. He said it's unsurprising that people are looking for ways to express darker emotions aesthetically when, quote, "we have been overwhelmed with news about death, mortality, and illness," unquote, since the beginning of the pandemic, while school closures have lent themselves to a mood of, quote, "romantic disengagement, sullenness, and introspection," unquote, among teens. And I don't know, I guess my question about this is less of a joke question, but because I've seen other articles make similar claims about goth becoming popular during COVID or social unrest or dissatisfaction with capitalism or ennui or general melancholy or whatever. And so they have this, like, death and suffering. They're too for goth. And so they blame that on the popularity of goth fashion because of news about death, which seems insane to me.
I agree. I mean, like, it's like goths are cheesy, and we're too vain to.
Well,
we love ourselves.
I mean, what was that meme that was going around on goth sort of being the harbinger of difficult times? It was in the 80s. It was the Reagan years, and then the nihilistic 90s with the angry Gen X, and today we have like Trumps and recessions and plagues and gender identity and
QAnon.
I mean, but I think when goth rises in popularity, it's just
this goth rises in pot. I'll tell you that much.
Hell yeah, smoke weed every day.
I forgot what I was going to say.
Sorry.
Goth rising in popularity. But I like
that damn goth pot.
I like seeing the new kids out. Like, I love seeing all the new crowd out. Like, we, especially here in San Antonio, we're lucky. We have a lot of nights here, and I see new people all the time, and it's really nice. Just because goth waves and goth never dies. Like, really, we never really die, but like, we go through waves, in the early 2000s, in the 80s, 90s, like, we're kind of on a downward wave, but we've been on an upward kind of wave recently. I feel like I've just seen more new people recently than in a long time, but maybe because of the pandemic.
It's always going to be popular and less popular during other times, but that's why we have the Goth Inquisition to sort of weed them out, and just
yeah.
But the real ones always stick around.
Yeah, just to weed through all the noise.
If you used to be, you never were. That's what I say.
Yeah.
Yep.
If you used to be, you never were.
The other thing too is if you're around long enough, you see that many people come and go.
Yeah.
You can kind of tell who's going to stick around and who isn't, but sometimes you're surprised.
Totally.
Yeah.
But it's nice to see those kids that come in and like grow with you, and you kind of keep put on your bat wing, and like,
yeah, it's
really nice to see that. And those kids like really want to learn and want to like get into music and like come and like, what are you playing? Can you tell me you're playing? What was that song? I live here. It's getting me a little emotional, but like, it's just really nice to see a lot of the newer crowd come along, but the older crowd getting along with the newer crowd, you know? So that's really nice to see. As an elitist though, I mean, you better kids, you better fucking Ask questions.
Buy your records.
Buy your records.
What I love is when someone new makes a request while you're DJing, and they request something really good, yet also really new. Most people don't know about.
Or really old and obscure.
Okay, that's good. Yeah. You don't tend to get that as much from the older crowd.
Well, because we already know everything, so.
Yeah.
Well, not the new stuff.
Naturally.
No. We know.
We know.
Don't reveal our secrets, ATAC.
I think it's kind of a reach.
Yeah.
I mean, naturally, fashion comes and goes in cycles, right? So I think we're just in another cycle.
Yeah.
I think that's what it is.
The early 2000s are getting a comeback.
Yeah, even back in the 90s, designers would come out to goth clubs, especially in San Francisco and New York, and watch what the goth kids were wearing and sketch in the back of the clubs. I think Angela Benedict actually brought this up at some point. And they would be inspired by different subcultures, especially goth in the 90s. So I can see maybe making an argument because of that, but I think it's largely a reach.
Yeah. I think to me, it feels like it's, especially in this article, it feels like a non sequitur because the whole point of the article is about how goth aesthetic is not, it's semiotically diffuse. It's like it can be anything basically. It's not linked to a lifestyle or a philosophy or an ethos or an identity. But then all of a sudden they're linking it to, what do they say? It's this cultural existential anxiety, and then this rejection of the Instagram filters and stuff, which that sounds like a lifestyle to me. So it's like bad writing. It's all keyword diarrhea, basically.
If they're saying goths don't use Instagram filters, they got another thing coming because
yeah,
because we do.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't really know what the kids are doing these days. I don't really pay attention to the teenagers, but I feel like the goth fashion comes back into trend like every year almost, like around this time of year. It's, the dark clothes and the lace and leather and black lipstick and stuff. So I'm not really surprised that's back.
Yeah, it's really just code for just wearing black, isn't it? I mean, what exactly goth are they doing? It's just
if you're wearing all black.
I don't really care about the mainstream stuff. But from like the baby bats that I have been seeing lately, I think they've been doing really good. Just a few years ago, I feel like it was very fashion based, I guess. It was, we used to complain a lot about, Killstar and all those brands. Not so much anymore. I feel like they're actually, being interested in the music, and a lot of them have that kind of trad goth style and, do DIY and stuff. So I don't know, within the scene, I think we're doing pretty good.
You know what I would say also about because I've been thinking about this death equals goth thing. I will say that like it seems sort of like a recency bias to me because horrible things have always happened. It just feels more important to us because we're living through it. But goth rose out of a music subculture. So goth didn't exist, unless you're one of those people who thinks like Queen Elizabeth was goth or some dumb shit like that. Like goth didn't exist when stuff was bad at that point. So it's like they're trying to take it in the broadest possible sense, where you roll in metal and like you're saying, anything dark and edgy or emo or whatever.
Yeah.
But that's why we're here, to put you in the stocks and ridicule you until you repent, right? So that's
Yeah, and they mix and match like Gothic and Goth.
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
They are pretty separate, They're very specific.
All right. The clothing resale app Depop, which is popular with Gen Z consumers reported a 20% increase in goth and gothcore searches over the past the past 3 months, including a 200% spike for black corset top in October. That reminds me of that article. I think we covered this on another Gothquisition about how to dress goth for fall. But there was also that TikTok I saw about that person who dressed as a goth for a Halloween party and then was talking about how good they looked as a goth. But that always bothers me when anyone is like dressing up as a goth for a costume.
Yeah.
Especially when people are, you know, myself, like when I go out, I'm worried about being physically or verbally accosted for the way I look. You know?
What's your outfit? What's that costume you have on? What is this? Are you a goth or something? Like, what is this? That kind of thing. No. Ew. I hate that.
I just think it's hilarious.
When there's somebody asked Deshra at VNV, we saw a hologram at VNV Nation, and they're like, "So what are you supposed to be?" And Dedra's like, "Well, what are you supposed to be? Like, why are you asking me that? Why are you in your blue jeans?"
It was just weird that I was asked that in Austin. I was like, didn't Austin used to be fucking weird? Like, I'm just standing here, like, dressed like
this was the night that I saw on Red River and 7th Street, which used to be like a dangerous punk territory, goth territory, where no families and kids existed. Seeing families with their kids walking around at 11 at night. And I'm like, what is going on in the city? You know, and it's just it's wild. It's changed a lot. Yeah. If you're not from Texas, you probably don't know about, you know, Austin used to be cool.
Do you get a lot of that, Caroline?
Caroline's like, I have no idea what you're doing.
Not really.
Oh, okay.
The Texans are being loud, sorry.
Okay. Yeah, you'll definitely be loud compared to people here. We don't really talk much.
Yeah, I don't know. And, you know, it's also that whole thing ties into people who sexualize goths based on how they look as well. It plays into that stereotype when you could just dress up as a goth for a costume. I hate it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, people sexualize like ketchup and mustard.
Yeah, that's true.
And put that in costumes. It's like, is there any avoiding it?
Yeah.
But when you're a goth, you're automatically supposed to be freaky, non-vanilla, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Which is in a lot of new, like, especially now, a lot of white men are like fetishizing goth women a lot,
well,
you know?
That's always happened though. That's
but recently it's been a lot. It's been a lot more. Wow. The big titty goth GF whole thing
it's
going on.
It's become a meme now. So
yeah,
we see it more.
But they don't like the real extreme goths. Like you would, like you want like a, you know, what you think some. I'm not gonna say all goth is valid, you know, whatever. But like they want
all goth is not valid. This is the
all goth is not valid. No, it's not. No, pastel goth. No,
forget where you're at. Forget who you are.
But like, you know what I mean? Like they don't want the extreme trad goth look. They want like the bimbo look.
Yeah, they want the Kim Kardashian.
Fucking Kourtney Kardashian, Megan Fox look. That's the big titty goth girlfriend look that they really like. They don't like the extreme.
They're blurring the lines.
And then if you date one, they'll try to change you.
Yeah, yes.
Like, I had that experience like 3 times.
Always.
Kenny, you can't change my ass.
Where did you bury them?
Yeah. And do I need help? Need help?
Where did you scatter their ashes? Like I was just reading about Spoon, whatever his name is, from UK Decay, where he was talking about how him and dozens of other punks in the UK in the 80s were getting like the shit kicked out of them for just being punks. And you know, I'm not saying we suffered so you have to suffer or currently suffer, because again, like I still worry about when I go out, and it, like, even separated from my gender identity, which to be honest is still tied into my goth identity and how I present myself. But I feel like if you are taking on the mantle and the word of goth with no regard for what came before and what goes on now, and using those subcultural signifiers for clout, that's just disrespectful as fuck, you know?
Yeah.
Yep.
For sure. Respect your elders.
Yeah.
Respect them.
My hips hurt.
Back in my day, but we had to walk 2 miles in the snow just to get the club back and forth.
In a leather thong.
And assless chaps.
I
think Joe's gone.
He said he was rebooting, so I'm waiting for him to join back again. I don't know why it's taking so long.
I just want to say Australian for beer all the time. That's the only thing I can do in Australian. Australian for beer. Shrimp on the barbie. Sorry, I've been saying it all day. Australian for beer.
Oh my gosh.
I knew I was going to embarrass Detra this whole time. That's always my goal.
All right, let's see. So Sophie Daly, who runs a goth clothing shop on Depop, said the new approach to goth style is to mix and match influences, as online communities have connected previously disparate tribes.
Okay.
United by a love for somber palettes and dark thoughts, she said, quote, "Visually, a goth could literally be anything. In 2022, goths don't even have to wear black."
Okay, girl.
Oh my god. I just clicked on the link to her goth clothing business, and yeah, it definitely seems like she thinks it can be literally anything, because I see a lot of like 70s, 60s fashion in her shop.
Yeah, you're right.
There's a lot of orange and brown.
Oh, baby,
Carl's
baby,
Jr.
baby,
is
baby,
goth
baby,
now.
No. It's Whataburger is goth, apparently. Orange and browns. No.
Golfing is now goth.
I don't know. I don't feel comfortable in any other color but black. I mean, I just don't get that. I'm like, goth is, I mean, I get like, Steve Strange and like, the more, you can be kind of the gravers, if you will, more neon, whatever. But orange and brown, baby.
Pastels?
No, not pastels.
Did the Addams Family teach you nothing?
Nothing. I know. Morticia Adams.
See, my mom told me that your base should be black, but your accessories or hair could be colored. That's what she always told
A
me.
wise person. Yeah.
Wise woman, wise lady. It's all about the base and then the accessories is what I tell the kids, because a lot of kids like, you have to meet, why can't I need to look at me.
Change my
I'm like,
you
put
goths
all
to wear
black
all
and then
white.
Put on some chains. Go to like I made this from Lowe's. Definitely like, no.
We're not on camera.
Oh, well, then like every
She's showing everyone on camera what she's wearing. I'm like,
well, I made a chain necklace from stuff I got at the hardware store.
Nice. Excellent.
So,
DIY or die. Yeah.
DIY or die. DIY or death.
Doesn't every scene have like one goth that wears all white though?
Yes.
Like
yes.
each scene has at least one.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing is.
Pleasures is one of those. She used to wear. They used to wear white all the time.
It works too. I like it. I mean,
I do too.
Yeah.
If you do it well, if you know your style.
What's that awful death rock band that I don't like? That never wore black. Shit. Hang on. I can't. Oh,
Crug Shadow. I'm just joking. I'm just joking. That was a joke.
Don't get me started.
Oh, don't get me started.
Save it for later.
Remember. I thought
Save
I had
it for
it
the show.
I thought I had it on a pin somewhere on my other jacket, but I can't remember.
Goth band that wears all white.
No, it's a death rock band from the like mid 2000s that was like not very popular, but people knew about them. They didn't wear all white; they just didn't wear black.
Yeah, not Dead Sea.
They're not.
It was 3 words, I think, and I can't remember.
Emo something. I don't know. But they were like other stuff. I don't know.
So many bands with 3 words though.
Yeah.
All white in the early
Death
2000s.
rock specifically. It'll come to me eventually. I'll probably remember. No, but yeah, to your point, Caroline, it feels to me like this quote is literally just so she could be like, yeah, go buy my clothes because they're goth because I said so.
Because anything could be goth.
Yeah.
Orange and black.
Including
orange
everything
and brown.
on my
a few like kind of gothy clothes on here, but No.
It's like mod and rocker and grunge kind of stuff, I think.
Ew.
When I look at it, I don't know.
Ugh. Ew.
But then also,
But
if you
like,
say
they're
that,
quoting people and just like kind of giving them credit, like they have like this
yeah,
authority to speak on these things.
yeah. And it's, if you do it the other way around, I mean, not only is it like fucked up and disrespectful, but if you do it if you're like, okay, well, hip hop fashion can be goth, that's like just cultural appropriation. So then if you just you completely dilute, if there's no coherent fiber to identify what goth fashion is, then it's not anything. Right. So it's completely, nonsense.
Yeah. They're just selling you stuff.
Yeah. But like, yeah, she said you don't technically have to wear black. Like that's technically true, but in this article,
was it All Gone Dead? Is that who I'm thinking of? I guess they did wear some black, yeah.
They were kind of like 80s synthy, but looked death rocky.
Yeah. I didn't like that band. That might be who I was thinking of. Anyway. Let's see, where are we at? She said videos on TikTok, such as those under the Goth hashtag, which has 8.8 billion views, are fueling the interest in vintage goth fashion, with some sellers auctioning pieces for up to £350 due to high demand.
Better be some good stuff for £350.
Well, how much do you want to bet vintage is like trip pants that I wore when I was in high school?
Bullshit.
I know, right?
If it's vintage, it better be 80s. Better be early 90s, not early 2000s.
Caroline, what is vintage to you? My bones hurt. Tell me, make me feel like I'm dying.
As the youngest person here,
yeah.
This is really vintage. Even like, I don't know about like Gen Z goths, but I assume like since they, are into 90s and 2000s mall goth fashion, that I guess that is vintage now.
Bury me now.
But I don't agree with that.
Oh.
But I have heard that, Trip Pants and whatever other brands from back in the day, or back in the day, it's not that long ago, are selling for a lot.
I do remember them being they were relatively expensive. So like when I bought Trip Pants from Hot Topic in 2005, it was like $80 or something, which is pretty I mean, it was very expensive for working at McDonald's, but still that's pretty expensive for 2005.
Well, I used to buy my pants from Hot Topic for many years, and they just stopped selling the Blackheart pants, and I bought them for many, many, many years. Rest in peace, Blackheart pants from Hot Topic. Don't Destra is shaking his head at me like, you idiots. But they were the best pants. I'm wearing some right now in remembrance.
Oh.
And they have a hole in the knee. That's all. I did.
Like, yeah. Kids today still think Vampire Freaks is a clothing shop, but I'm old enough to remember when you'd find out about Vampire Freaks from a sticker on a toilet in a goth club bathroom, and then you'd realize that it's just a den of sexual predators and like 10 actual goths.
Yeah.
It was the other MySpace. So,
yeah, I went on Depop and I just searched for Trip NYC, and I did find like one pair of, the classic pants, not even that flared, and it says Bracy Vintage Trip NYC black flared pants with tons of hardware detail. These pants look and feel dead stock? What does that even mean?
I have no idea.
And they are selling them for $168.
Oh my god. Look, okay, so let me just say, like, I was reading old issues of Drop Dead magazine, and they have DIY tutorials in there. I have DIY tutorials on the Belfry website. I mean, I haven't put any up in a while, but I have some on there. And I love extravagant, flawless goth looks and but you don't have to spend a bunch of money on them. I get most of my clothes exclusively from thrifting these days. Goth doesn't have to be expensive, and you don't have to live up to like a perfectionist ideal either that you see on Instagram or Pinterest or stuff that's pushed by the worst goths on the internet, like it's Black Friday. DIY and thrifting is goth as fuck. And you don't have to spend that much money on a pair of pants. And to go back to the like flawless look thing, for people who have, you know, chronic illnesses and multiple jobs or kids or whatever, don't buy into the ableist, classist versions of goth if you can't spend all this time working on a goth look or hundreds of dollars buying into this goth aesthetic. It's bullshit. So fuck this, you know, all the stuff that Guardian is pushing. It fits right in with the stuff the Kardashians are pushing, and then it ends up in filtering down into the same ethos and ideology that people like IBF. I'm not going to push off on that too much, but like it's the same bullshit. Anyway.
Be like Danny, make more butt capes.
Yeah.
Okay. Huh?
I just found another pair for $200.
Oh my god.
Oh my gosh.
Well, and a lot of like the kids on TikTok, because I'm geriatric on TikTok. I'm like an old ass idiot on TikTok. And I haven't been on in a while, but a lot of the kids on there, they're always like, I want to be like you, or I want to like, how do you dress like you, and stuff like this. And I'm like, don't be like me. You do not want to be like me, first of all. But second of all, like, you know, goth is not about, and this is such a trope we say all the time. It's just like, you don't have to fucking buy expensive stuff to be. It's about who you are and about style. Like Joe, I don't know if you're here when I said it, but like what you said is the difference between style and fashion. You know,
and you can't buy a goth card.
Yeah, you can't buy a goth card, baby.
And the other mistake they make is they think goth is a destination. It's a journey.
It's a journey. Exactly.
They'll develop their style eventually.
And you will, and we go through renaissances. So I'm going through a renaissance right now where I look more alive, more of a cold waver style, I guess. But we go through different renaissances. You know, we go different style changes.
Yeah. You pick them up. You pick up bits and pieces that you like, and you end up. You might stick with something long term, or you might switch to something else. But we all do that. I mean, there's still people stuck on steampunk.
The poor fools. The poor dumb idiots.
Sorry.
Get out of my goth club.
I don't know. If people want to spend that much on trip pants, I mean, I just let them. I mean, that's not something that...
If they enjoy tripping over, how about it?
That's consequence enough.
I really, truly regret, like, I really don't. But I did, you know, I had, I don't know, 6 or 7 pairs of trip pants. I beat them to shit. So, like, they were pretty torn up. But I did throw them away at one point because I was like, who the fuck is going to want these disgusting, gross
my old trip pants have, like,
of fashion.
Deteriorated.
They did.
They're flaking.
They fell apart, yeah.
But they fit really good.
Why did the extra chains and stuff probably just carrying them to crap?
You know, I would sit at night. I would kneel at night and whip myself and apologize to Roz Williams for wearing those for so long. You know, it's like who would buy these?
As you should. Do is wear the pants, fork, and they'll do the whipping for you.
Absolutely,
Very Catholic
Daddy.
of you.
Thank
Very
you.
Catholic.
Yeah. It's subversive, you know. Nervous Gender, Roz Williams, all the greats did that Catholic subversion.
Alakudra, have you seen that movie? Alakudra?
No.
The lesbian Catholicism film with nuns that look like tampons.
No.
It's a Spanish film. Anyways, y'all should watch it. Alakudra. Alucdra.
Love it.
Really good. But the nuns look like used tampons. They do. And the priest would beat them and stuff. Yeah. So
fantastic.
If you're into that, yeah.
All right. So the shopping platform List said searches for collections by the cult goth designer Rick Owens, which feature black leather and punk details such as rips and zips, have grown by 200% this year. Searches for black items have grown 169%. Nice. While chokers have grown by 81% and fishnet tops by 196%. Pinterest data, meanwhile, points to the goth aesthetic influencing everyday life. Searches for goth business casual, described as Wednesday Addams goes to the office,
Oh my god.
are up by 90% this year, with goth baby clothes up by 120%. Goth.
Sorry, that was me.
That's sweet.
Caroline?
Caroline!
That was me. Sorry, my fault.
No, I love it. I love it.
I literally just ordered a Wednesday Adam dress.
Oh, damn.
I had to.
Right. Oh my gosh.
What's all the stats? What are these tacky stores picking up?
What?
I heard floppy, silly, snacks. I think I'm playing telephone here. I'm so sorry.
Is that better?
No. Your hardware has betrayed you.
Sounds like he's at
Very
the bottom
cyberpunk.
of
Very cyberpunk.
I just hear angry Australian screaming.
Sounds like he's at the bottom of a Pringles can.
Yeah, yeah. Your microphone's not goth enough. Or it's too goth and it's deemed you a poser. I don't know. Try putting it deep into your anal cavity and see if it'll pick it up.
Try saying Foster's. Australian for B. Sorry, I can't help it.
Oh my god.
All right, he said BRB. I think he's gonna.
Oh, I wonder if goth baby clothes went up because there's someone on TikTok that has done like the life of a gothic baby or something. Everyone's been sending that to me.
You know,
oh, really? I haven't seen it.
Caroline, you know, it's Black Friday's pregnant again as well. Do you know that?
Yeah.
Again?
Yeah.
So
That probably too boosts things up.
yeah. But also you, Caroline, you're an icon, baby. You're an icon. So you
thank you.
You look
My
it up
baby is so
self-analyze
goth
it, dude.
already.
And congratulations, by the way.
Yeah,
That's
congratulations.
amazing.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Y'all gonna have such a beautiful baby.
Your baby's
I'm
getting an
crying.
important
That's
lesson
just looking at me like an idiot.
in elitism today. Yeah.
Your baby's gonna
Oh,
be born.
yes. I want like this corrosion to start playing as she's crowning out of me. I can put that in my birth plan, right?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Seems reasonable.
Or a vision thing. Vision thing
Yeah.
would be good. No, it wouldn't be as good as
No, not as
this
good as
corrosion. It wouldn't be as good as corrosion.
Goth decor by 85% and searches for goth pajamas up by 185%. Just to finish that sentence off.
What is goth pajamas?
Well, see, I thought goth pajamas were just oversized band t-shirts and a lacy thong, but that's just what I wear to bed, so I don't know.
Yeah, but like I assume this is probably something specific. What was this, Pinterest?
Yes, Pinterest.
Okay, I'm gonna search for goth pajamas.
But also,
Are you Pinterest Angel, Caroline? You're Pinteresty.
What?
Are you into Pinterest? Are you Pinterest Angel?
Not really.
It sounds like it.
Like I have an account, but
yeah, I have an account too. I don't use it.
I guess it looks like just regular pajama stuff, but with like
But they're black.
occult symbols.
Oh god,
You know, like-
that shit again.
Yeah, like skulls and coffins and bones. And...
They're 7 years behind Killstar.
Yeah.
So no, some girls will wander by mistake with the butt flap.
No, sadly.
I mean, these numbers are completely meaningless though because they're just percentages.
Yeah.
Because
yeah, of like what as opposed
Yeah.
to what.
Yeah.
And it could be anything. It's just like what they would consider to
From
be,
like the start of the internet until today.
Well,
like is that
Well, I mean, what I mean is like if 5 people searched for this last year and then 20 people searched for it this year, then that's a huge percentage jump. So it doesn't really mean anything.
It also mostly has nothing to do with anything. It also mostly has nothing to do with goth at all. Like they're using goth in place of black,
Yeah.
They're looking for black things, they're looking for occult symbolism. It's not actually goth.
Yeah.
It's like they think all data is good data, and that's just not the case.
Where's the
This
data?
is bullshit data. Exactly. But they're presenting it like it's good data, so people are gonna read this shit and they're gonna believe it.
Yeah.
I need to know this data comes from. I need sources. I need all this. Okay, thank you.
The Guardian is
Just
their
saw
own
one
source.
pajamas that says nerdy, dirty, inked, and curvy.
Oh my god.
Damn, save some goth for the rest of us.
Fucking boomer clothing.
Boomer. I love
That's actually those are the pajamas that Eldritch wears to bed now.
Easy goes.
How do you like me now?
I like you a lot.
There you are.
Sounds better.
My computer has stopped gatekeeping me. God damn it. There's only meant to be one gatekeeper here, and that's me. Well, and you guys. I've actually got an old broken headset, but it seems to work.
Welcome
We're
to the
just an
Gothquisition, Joe.
afterthought.
Yeah. Okay, so what else is here? This has been this is echoed in the online communities building around the topic. On Reddit, the r/goth community has grown by 35% over the past year, reaching 101,000 members, while r/goth style has increased 136% to 115,000 members.
Oh, these
Hey, Chuck, is this
stats
true?
remind me of what I was trying to say before. What I was trying to say is, what's with all these stats about clothing sales? Do they want more of the same generic alt stores selling the same generic crap?
Yeah, basically. But isn't art? Well, I mean, speaking of generic crap, isn't r/? Well, that's I might get in trouble for that one. Isn't r/goth style? Isn't r/goth style the one where I don't use it, so I don't know. But isn't that where like all the metal shirts and e-girl makeup and rave aesthetic shows up?
I talk from being a moderator at Goth. We are really trying to focus more.
You're drowning again.
Someone took his microwave.
You're drowning. You're drowning again.
So good.
It's like everyone who hates this episode has coalesced into a spectral entity and sabotaged Joe's microphone.
Poor Joe, bless him.
So just for some context, I looked at some of the other alternative Reddits, and we've got r/metal has 1.7 million members. That's the biggest one. Obviously, that makes sense to me. r/emo has 128,000. r/punk has 207,000. And then the poor industrial head, rivet heads over at that subreddit has 34,000.
All men.
Yeah, yeah, all white
all
men. All angry
all
white
men.
men.
I love industrial as a woman. Just
we know you're an angry white man. It's okay. All right, so then the next paragraph here. The focus this time around has been on personal style and the way it has inspired and been lifted from high fashion. With cybergoths, they heard you talking. With cybergoths haunting the runway in Balenciaga's Spring-Summer 2022 show, Givenchy showcasing 90s teen goths, and Olivier Theskins taking inspiration from Gothic brides.
The Balenciaga runway is actually kind of nice. I've seen it because I keep up with like Terry McGlair.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, rest in peace, because like they're like iconic fashion. I like fashion. Okay, give me a break.
We can tell.
Like high fashion stuff, and I do like. I have a Balenciaga bag that somebody gave me, but I did see that fashion runway. It was not bad, really. I would like wear some of that stuff, in black. Obviously. But I can get on with these designers. Yeah, I get it. A lot of them are very especially like Balenciaga, Termaglaire, Rico, and stuff like that. They're very based off of goth fashion, yeah. But I can't afford that shit. I cannot afford that. I can't.
Yeah.
So knockoffs, and I will make it myself. DIY. Yeah. Get a sewing machine, kids, and learn how to sew. That's the best thing to do, really. Because you can make anything you want if you learn how to sew. Really.
Can I make myself a will to live? Oh, but that's going to get too dark for this episode.
No. I thought I was being too dark. I'm just talking too much.
No, impossible. This is the Gothquisition. You do whatever the fuck you want. I have a problem with they say the focus this time around, because this time, that's absolute poppycock and yes, I said poppycock because I like to have cock in my mouth. The first episode of Cemetery Confessions, we had an article about Kylie Jenner being goth, and Dietra even said earlier that fashion always, there's that cycle of the goth fashion, right? So they always have this notion of it being a new thing when it is just recycling and stealing from other communities. But I do kind of see, I do see kids wearing trip pants and having dyed hair and piercings on the street. And I can never tell if they're like alternative kids or goths or whatever. But then when I go up and try to talk to them about that time premature ejaculation crucified a dead cat on stage, they look at me like I'm the weird one. So,
kids know nothing.
They know nothing. It's not your fault. It's theirs.
There's a couple more paragraphs here. So there's also a goth influence on culture more broadly. Taylor Swift's last album references folk horror.
No.
Willow Smith has a subversive new look, and the 18-year-old singer-songwriter Olivia Rodrigo, who sports a goth princess look, references the goth-adjacent emo subculture from the mid-2000s in her songs.
Nope.
See,
this is culture more broadly.
They're just trying to install all their own celebrities and just rewrite history of what the definition of goth is.
What's this obsession with labeling everything goth? What the fuck?
Yeah.
Because what else are they going to call it? How are they going to sell it to you? Give it some sexy name.
A black film noir?
I don't know, darks. I don't know.
Dark.
Yeah, describe the aesthetic. It's not goth, but you can describe an aesthetic in a number of ways without using goth. It's not goth. It's I don't fucking get it.
But you can call it something else. You can, like you said, you can call it darkwear or
Well, that's what they should do, but they
don't. They're calling it gothcore, right?
They won't, because they want to sell goth to you. They want to own whatever they think it is and sell it to the masses.
They want to be us.
Is rolling in his grave,
but they can't be us, and they will never be us.
No, they will never.
Well, yeah, that's
Andrew Eldridge is laughing at us at this point. He is.
Do they think goth makes them cool? Because growing up as a little gothling, that's what my mom called her children, little gothlings. I was not cool.
No,
my family was not cool.
No.
So it's what the fuck? It's I don't get where the shift exactly happened, but it happened
Well, recently it's been because the Zoomer generation, kids now are it's cool to be goth at this point. A lot of the kids I follow on TikTok, they're in their 20s, but it's kind of popular now, being goth. And a lot of the kids have a lot of influence these days. I sound old saying these kids.
But a lot of them don't know shit, They usually have some terrible music playing in the background while they're doing a Killstar outfit,
I can't be mad that people aren't being bullied anymore. I can't be mad at that.
No.
I'm a fucking bully myself, and I don't even realize it half the time. But I seriously can't be mad that kids are being bullied less for their
they're still
choice
getting
in how they look.
Kids still
Yeah,
are.
but less. It's less.
A lot
It's
less.
not as bad as it used to,
yes.
for sure.
And
Exactly.
I still get catcalled at this point in my life, but like Mamie Hades on TikTok, she posts a lot of good goth content.
Maddie Dagger does too. She's younger, isn't she?
Who is it?
Yeah. Maddie Dagger.
Oh yeah.
Maddie Dagger. And then she's so beautiful. Oh my gosh, I feel bad if I don't remember her name, but she was on Cemetery Confessions.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. I can't remember people's names though. Let me see.
With
obviously talking about Jake Monroe.
Not Jake Monroe. No, absolutely not. Would never.
Poser.
No,
I cannot fucking stand him.
No, he's like a Manzonite to me.
He's
gross.
like,
and I like Toxic Tears. I do like her. She doesn't really post about goth content, but like he kind of did her really dirty. Apparently,
sweet personality, but I'm mostly indifferent to her.
Talking about Nadja.
Nadja from TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. She's the best. They are the best.
I don't know what your kids are talking about.
It was with Scary Lady Sarah, that Cemetery Confessions.
Yeah.
The old school, the new school,
Yeah.
kind of. And it was really nice. Because we love Scary Lady Sarah. We love her around here.
There are actual goths on TikTok if you know where to look, but there is a lot of poser trash on TikTok, like this Guardian article as well, if you browse through just general goth content. Yeah, but no, I mean, to your point though, it's they're basically just this is why we have the Gothquisition to set people straight on what goth is, right? Because they're just saying it's horror references.
No.
It's emo, it's death, it's quirky black clothing, all those generic search terms, whatever. That's and then those and it rolls into those labels get popular and people search for them, and so goth gets tagged on whatever random shit, and then it loses all sense of the communities, the actual goths communities meaning, and then you get those hot takes like people are dressing goth because of the pandemic or whatever, because death equals sad equals goth, and goth becomes this nebulous internet hashtag. Okay, so then this last part here, is this the last part? Yeah.
It's gone again. We all know that.
Yeah, he is. He said he was trying to fix it. Or he's rebooting again. I don't think that's going to fix anything, but we'll see. I'll read the last 3 bits here. Daniel Rogers, a fashion and culture writer, said the new goth aesthetic taps into the early noughties revival that has defined youth fashion and culture in recent years. It's not a return of the deathly looking goth, he said, but rather a way to gesture at subculture more generally by drawing on a blend of earlier dark style tribes, including emo, punk, and strands of goth such as Camden-inspired cybergoth look.
Poser!
Rogers charts the current moment from the e-boys and e-girls phenomenon of the late 2010s, where young gamers popularized a style that combined elements of goth and emo with Japanese anime and cosplay. He sees this as the current iteration of goth. He sees this and the current iteration of goth as reflecting the way culture develops on the internet. Quote, we're in a constant cycle of looking back and reproducing things, spewing up references onto the table, which is like a buffet young people can choose from, unquote.
They sure are.
Mm-hmm. I'm definitely throwing up, I'll tell you that much.
Gesture at subculture more generally. Yeah.
See, people need to know that not every dumb thought needs to be made into a fucking article for the whole world to read.
Yeah, well, when you can get advertiser revenue out of it, they sure think it does.
Yeah.
Any rubbish will do.
Yep, but now they've thrown in all the possible alternative keywords in there, so
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and they threw quote unquote data in there too.
Anime.
They've got.
Well, I'm like thinking
Cosplay,
about like
yeah.
cyberpunk at this point now. Of course.
That is
Yeah.
a weird thing I have noticed nowadays. Is I've seen a lot of people that they really aren't goth, but they will cosplay it.
Yeah.
Like they'll have their looks like this is my authentic goth look, and it's they'll be like that for a little while and then move on to something else.
Yeah.
Ugh.
So I don't really see them as a threat because I know they'll be gone soon enough.
Yes.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. They're
just annoying.
Still, it gives a bad image because it spreads the whole idea of let's just treat goth as a costume.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it normalizes that idea, right?
Yeah.
I was at work one time, a long time ago, and this guy read me to filth, honey. He was like, "What's this girl? What's her deal?" And my coworker was like, "Oh, I guess she's a goth or whatever." And he's like, "Punk goth? Doesn't matter. It's all a fucking uniform." And I was like, "You show right, motherfucker. You show right." I was like, "Damn, dude, you did." I'm like, "Well, we kind of do. We wear a little bit of a uniform." I don't know where that came from, but I'm just saying.
But they need to realize that uniform came from the musicians we look up to. It came from the music.
And we're like walking advertisements for bands, too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
See, I think the music is the foundation of the subculture, and the most important part of the subculture is the community.
The music and the bands. Yes.
Yeah, the music, the bands, and the community that listens to those bands.
Or
that's goth to me.
Or if you no, I interrupted you. I'm sorry. If you wear a "She Pleasures Herself" shirt, you can be an advertisement for the bands and butt plugs, my other passion.
Yep. That's right. If you Sheep on Drugs, you can be an advertisement for people on drugs. And also the band
yeah, there you go.
Sheep on Drugs. People are like, "Can I be like you?" I'm like, "No," but also I'm like, "Be like me. Be like you. I'm your only hope in hell." Okay, sorry, I had to. She's on drugs, guys. I'm sorry, I had to. Detra is shaking his head.
As long as you're not wearing a T-shirt that just says goth, because real goths don't need to advertise.
Yeah.
I'm wearing a velvet long sleeve shirt. Thank you.
It is funny that's like I used to do that when I was a teen, but it was also when I was younger. There was such a big thing among goths of like, I don't label myself. There was this group of goths like, don't call me a goth because I won't label myself. And then then
you don't call yourself goth.
Everybody like is now literally like wearing the label on their shirt,
Yeah, I remember that was a big thing in the 90s.
You never call yourself a goth.
No one wanted to admit to being a goth.
Yeah. And Sanctus, actually, to your point, when I was thinking about this, it's about the whole like everybody wants to call themselves a goth. Like, there's literally a term called alternative or alt, which is exactly what they're talking about, which is just this vague subcultural soup. Like, why don't you just fucking use that word? That's an actual thing.
Yeah.
And at the mixed genre nights and that, it's going to be a mixed bag of people anyway.
Yeah.
But why goth? Like, other subcultures don't have, like, metal doesn't have this fucking issue, really. I mean, like, sure, you'll see like
That's
a high school girl.
because people respect metal as a music genre.
shirt.
They don't with goth. We're the village bicycle everyone gets to ride.
Everyone steals
The village bicycle everyone gets to ride. Wait, what?
And punk doesn't get this either. Punk are the most elitist motherfuckers I know, at least. Punk rockers.
Yeah.
I'm gonna clip that out and play that anytime I need to get in the mood, Joe. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Well, it could be a special butt plug bike, and that's why everyone wants to ride it.
Ah.
Yeah.
Innovation.
The bicycle without a seat.
It's like the metal bike has just got a spike on it. No one wants to ride that.
Everyone.
That reminds me of a case we were looking at a while ago when I was in school. where this guy needed to call an ambulance because he got
no.
a stick shift stuck up his ass.
Oh shit!
Oh,
Yeah.
Wow. Accidental, I'm sure.
I've heard about this a lot of times, especially West Los Angeles.
And it doesn't make sense to me because, like, they always say use a flared base,
Yeah.
and I'm like, isn't a whole fucking car a flared base? But he was stuck. Apparently, this happens a lot with cars.
Mm.
I didn't know that. I mean,
Don't try to
I
jump
know.
into the passenger seat.
All right. Well, on that note,
or as they say, anything's a dildo if you're brave
if
enough.
you're brave enough, yeah.
Or stupid enough.
It's time for a palate cleanser and to move on. So I'm going to tell a little joke, and then we'll take a song break. This joke is stolen from the Tao of Goth, written by Count von Sexbat for Alt Gothic back in the day. What is the sound of one hand clapping? Nosferatu Live. All right, so the song break. This track is from Johnny Haha of Alien Sex Fiend, and it's called I'm More Goth Than You. So, all right, we're going to move on to the next segment, which is back from episode 2, called The Great Debate. And it's not going to be as formalized this time around, but we're here to do the internet a service once again by settling an age-old question. This time around, is The Cure a goth band? Or alternatively, if you want, it could be, can a band be goth even if the artist denies it? So I've got a quote from Uncle Bob himself to sort of set the stage here, and I'll read this real quick. So this was from an interview. I don't remember how many months ago it was, but he said, quote, "I don't think of The Cure as a goth band. I never have. I grew up in a world where goth hadn't quite been invented in the way that we know and love it. And I was part of this subculture in as much as I went to the Batcave with Steve Severin. The Banshees were pretty much a goth band for a while, but even they weren't really. But real goth bands were around, the ones that were part of the initial movement. They were goth bands and I wasn't. I was doing Let's Go to Bed when goth started, so we'd done Pornography and Hanging Garden, and there's a look and a kind of vibe and an atmosphere, yeah. But was I responsible for goth? No. And if I was, I'd be very happy, but I wasn't. Inevitably, I think it had some kind of influence. Cold from Pornography, I think, sounds gothic, in as much as you can say it's got that particular sound. I'm aware we played a part in it, and I think we're part of the history of goth without question, but like a footnote. The Cure just aren't a goth band. When people say it to me, you're goth, I say you either have never heard us play or you have no idea what goth is. One of those two has to be true because we're not a goth band."
I think he's right. Yeah. I agree.
I'd say they're a bit more than just a footnote.
No.
Yeah.
True.
I agree with what, and I respect with what they've done, but I'm not like the biggest Cure fan. I can say that.
Okay, so my argument is I agree with him for the most part. By genre, he's not a goth band. But he is a band that the majority of his fan base is goths. And that's kind of what I categorize as
I wouldn't
goth.
say that.
Well,
my sister's been to see The Cure, and when she went, there were barely any goths in the audience, and she's not even goth herself.
I've been.
They have a lot of wide appeal.
That's true, but I think goths are like the more known fan base of The Cure. When you see The Cure, they associate it with goths, right?
Yeah. And you could definitely, I think you could definitely say
they're associated. Yeah,
you could definitely say the vast majority of goths are Cure fans as well.
Yeah, basically that's my argument. So I wouldn't say by genre that they are a goth band, but they are goth music. I don't know if I'm conveying this correctly.
They have a mix of goth and non-goth music within their whole entire career, and they've gone all over the place.
Exactly.
And most bands, I mean, even Bauhaus,
and
even in their early stuff, wasn't all goth. And this seems to be a common thing with a lot of the foundation bands, is they were all over the place because the sound hadn't been established.
Exactly.
They were just playing the music they wanted to play. Not like when you had bands coming towards the end of the 80s and that went, we want to be a goth band, so we make goth.
Well, it's like the Southern Death Cult and then coming into the cult. Or like...
Yeah.
And also
the most tragic story in the history of goth music.
To change band names.
They changed their name to be nice.
But that's why I laugh at Andrew Eldritch, because it's like, who do you think like a good majority of your fucking fan base is, dude?
I have a Sisters of Mercy tattoo. I have my back patch is Sisters of Mercy. We have I'm like the biggest Sisters of Mercy fan. One of my favorite bands.
Never would have guessed that. That's weird.
I know, all right? I know. Wow. This is just a Monday. Can you believe it? Wow. We don't like this.
I love them too. They're just so bad live. I'm sorry.
Well, there's too much smoke, and I can't say that as a goth. I'm like, too much smoke. But I've seen like Mara Luna footage and stuff, and
I thought they were great live.
I want to see them live. I've never seen them, Joe. I've never seen them. We've never seen them. I missed them by a week in Berlin.
They're not very
charismatic here recently,
on
but I couldn't
stage,
go. But I went 3 years ago.
They're just
I thought they were great
Why the
vibes.
fuck is he wear like? I mean, whatever. But I think it's the charisma thing. He wears like paisley shirts
looks like a
and
potato.
yeah, like you got to sex it up if you're not gonna do a dance or something.
Gotta sex it up. Come on, Andrew. Sex it up, potato. Sex it up.
Well, he doesn't look like Michael Jackson anymore.
Oh my god!
Oh my
Wow,
gosh.
you
I
just
laugh
came
like
for
I
like
do.
every goth.
Hey now.
Hey now. Hey now. Sing this corrosion to me. Hey now.
Andy's corroding.
I do. It is. I'm glad. It sounds like most of us agree on that point, though, because I also agree that you can not be a goth band but make a song or an album that is goth. I thought that was going to be controversial, but it sounds like most of us agree with that.
Well, the Damned did it.
The Damned, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
There would have to be so many bands you couldn't really associate with the culture if that were the case, because they
Right.
would deny that they were even being goth to begin with.
And the Damned
Plus,
is some of my favorite
what
punk
people
records
accept
as
as
well.
goth now has changed too. I mean, 20 years ago, Molchat Doma would not have been called a goth band or
No.
considered within the same vein.
New wave, cold wave.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, cold wave.
No.
A little bit, yeah. Euro.
Right. No,
something.
It depends on the
no,
cold
you're right.
wave.
It does. Thank you.
It's like with post-punk. It depends on the post-punk because there's a lot of post-punk that is nowhere near goth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
They just sort of fit in, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
The weird thing is, like a band like Killing Joke that people consider goth, but they've only really got one song that you could call goth.
Yeah. And their
Yeah.
industrial album is like one of my favorites, actually.
Yeah. Oh, they're a great band.
Yeah.
But you could be a great band and not be goth. Just because we say a band isn't goth isn't saying they suck.
Yeah. And even a band that says that they are goth doesn't even necessarily mean that they're good either.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And a lot
You
of-
mean like the Cruise Shadows?
No, they're not.
Oh, well, no. If you
Whoa,
hadn't
whoa,
mentioned that.
easy.
But like,
Because
a lot of-
they've had arguments saying they were and they were for a bit, then they weren't,
Tac.
and all sorts of things.
ATAC, just for that, you can.
Hand in your goth card. You are banished.
But like a lot of goth DJs I notice play a lot of bands that are like hashtag goth. That's not like they say they're goth, but I don't like the music. I'm sorry, I don't like it.
Yeah.
But a lot of people do. And I feel bad about that kind of because I feel like I should because they're good people, but like I just don't like the music. Sorry.
Well,
you
I
know?
guess a better question we could ask about The Cure is, within the goth scene, is The Cure's music overrated?
I don't think so.
No.
I think they are absolutely.
And I'm not
brilliant.
talking about
I
The
love
Cure, by
them.
the way.
I think they sound amazing, and I think
They're adequately rated, I think.
so.
and hugely influential. I mean, they influence.
Yeah.
Very influential.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, I think the influence part of it is important too, because it's like the way I see art working is it's interactive, right? It's not the artist doesn't have an authoritarian. Just because Uncle Bob says it's not goth doesn't mean that's therefore true. It's this. The only way his opinion matters is its contribution to the broader dialogue between the audience and the music that he made. So, like, because it's kind of like the intent, like with Susie, for example, when she did an interview once where she talked about she doesn't think her music is goth because she associates goth with the Batcave being this schlocky horror thing, which is like a very narrow view of what goth is.
And that sounds more like death rock, to be honest.
Well, yeah, I mean, the Batcave, I think, was a different, because the Batcave was more glam. Well, I guess death rock is more glam, but it's a different sound and a different, I think they're similar.
Well, not just that,
but,
they had a very wide range of bands that played there too.
Yeah. And so
I think Yellow played there. You wouldn't call them goth.
No. Yeah. And so I think like the artist isn't going to have the whole picture necessarily because they're not the whole community. And once the art is out there, it's, you know, those boundaries and taxonomies of goth and the music are, that's why the canon of goth music changes, because we debate it. And
well, once they put the music out there, people are going to use it as they see fit.
Right.
The band does not have control over that.
And that's why it's important that works like that too. And that it's why important that we have the Gothquisition, because otherwise the Kardashians would be goth, right? Because if enough people start normalizing whatever that Depop shop was with the country, you know, blue jeans and whatever bullshit was on there as goth, then that's what goth turns into.
And just by Susie even just existing, that expands like the whole, you know, lexicon of like goth music. Even though Susie doesn't say that she's a goth rock band, bands that sound like Susie we associate as being like goth rock bands.
Well, and I got into Susie and the Banshees through punk bands. So like the 77 punk scene was what I was really into at the time. So like that's through the Sex Pistols and Generation X, Billy Idol, I got through to Susie and the Banshees, and that's how I got into goth. So yeah, thank you, 70s.
Well, this is why in goth clubs we don't just play goth music.
Yeah.
Well, and even back in the day, they had to do it that way because there just wasn't enough goth music to play to fill a night.
Sure.
Right.
And you need to play stuff that like people know and want to dance to.
It has to be accessible.
Yeah.
Otherwise, no one will turn up. Most parts of the world, if you tried to run a purist goth night, it just wouldn't work.
It's hard.
That's why on Sisters of Monday we do more obscure stuff, because our audience wants to listen to that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In the club,
that's where all the Gothquisition fans hang out.
Yep, that's right. But no, people like in the club, they want to listen to like the Cult. They want to listen to Sisters of Mercy. They want to listen to The Cure. They want to listen to, you know, Bauhaus, stuff like that. So it's like we have to play the more club-worthy stuff.
But you still introduce new music, and some of that eventually becomes part of it, because otherwise we wouldn't have bands like Suspiria and that are played a lot now. Because back when I was new, they were new, you know?
Yeah. And we play a lot
of the DJs never did it.
So.
Yeah. And there's a lot of great new bands out there, but there's also a real glut of Cure clones at the moment. And Joy Division clones.
Sisters of Mercy clones.
Oh, not so much now, but in the 90s for sure. Yeah, in the 90s for sure.
Well, yeah, I mean, and to that earlier point, I think if you listen to The Cure, like to their influence, they're going to sound different than the influences, the people that influenced The Cure, or early goth bands earlier than that, like whatever, Echo and the Bunnymen and David Bowie and like The Idiot by Iggy Pop and Stooges and Adam and the Ants. Like you listen to those bands and modern goth music, you don't really hear as much. You don't really hear as much of an influence, but you listen to The Cure and you listen to goth music.
Well, there's been 40 years of evolution between that and what we have now.
But I think The Cure is a much closer sound.
That's a sound that's
T-Rex
always stuck with it along the way. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
for sure.
And a lot of The Cure's albums have been different too, as well as Killing Joke too.
Yeah,
a lot of the albums are a lot different, not the same kind of sound, you know, stuff like that. Like 17 Seconds, Hole in the Wall, stuff like that.
I mean, bands evolve their music. That's just a natural thing.
And goth evolves.
Change is inevitable. Yeah.
Yeah.
They laid the groundwork.
But the difference is we're looking at evolution from within. We're not looking at people forcing in stuff like trap and metal and all that stuff that was never there. It may have been played in the clubs on the fringes, but it wasn't part of the sound. It didn't evolve from the sound.
This is rock and roll. It's goth rock and roll, you know, death rock and roll. It's not metal. It's you know, punk at the really heart of it.
Yeah.
And I love it.
and they take influences from other things, and it evolves that way.
And we all influence each other,
Influence, don't replace.
Yeah.
We're agreeing way too much with this.
I know. We're being too
What the
nice.
hell?
Who, somebody want to shout about Crook Shadows or
Being
something?
way too nice.
We could probably argue about that. I do
as long
own
as
the
we have
t-shirt,
as long as we have
so-
time for the quiz, because that's my favorite part. We can't miss that.
The quiz. Oh, we're not going to miss that. It seems my audio's working now.
Yeah, you sound good.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, this is great. This
Yeah,
is
we can hear you
this is
well.
the third headset, and I had to fiddle with some settings. I rebooted twice, but here I am.
It's the Poltergoth.
Yeah. Bad influence over here. The Americans,
That was as bad as my jokes.
the
Tisha.
Texans.
Almost.
All right, well, I guess it's time for another break, and with that, another bad joke. And this one I wrote myself, so it's going to be even worse. What's the difference between a death rocker and a gutter punk? One looks like they're dead, and one smells like they're dead.
Yeah.
There's another one you could add, and a poser. One paid a lot of money to look like they're dead.
Ooh.
One's parents help them to be dead.
Yeah.
One
That's a crust bug.
Mommy, buy me a death outfit.
Can you give me my cell phone, please?
Elon Musk is saving
Don't
Twitter.
forget the Instagram filters.
I've hung out with many crust punks in my life, Petra. Thank you. I know. I know them well.
I took a shower in a closet in a basement we were squatting in once, so yeah. All right, the next song.
What sort of shower?
It was just from a bag we poked a hole in with cold water.
So it wasn't a gold shower?
No, different story.
And it wasn't a German shower?
I'm not sure I know what that one is. Is that where you just spray
A brown
sauerkraut on
shower.
you? Oh, okay.
Oh no.
Our next song break is by the band Batters, and it's called, appropriately, Goth.
Je suis gothique. I don't want to live anymore. I wake up in the afternoon, hungover as hell. Whomever I wake up with says, "Boy, you don't look too well." So I pack on heaps of makeup and drape myself with cloth and say to the rude bastard, "Behold, I am a Goth. You cannot speak to me that way. My lineage is pure. While you were still in nappies, I was dancing to the cure. So get out of my sight lest you incur my awful wrath. Nothing is more daunting than an irritated Goth." Like some kind of fruit bat, you come out late at night. You wear all black for years before you graduate to white. You follow me around like I was flame and you were moth. Never trivialize your relationship with Goth. I hang around in cafes, though I still avoid the sun. I turn my collar up like I'm avoiding everyone. I order cappuccinos with an inch of extra froth. I may be old and wrinkly, but I'll always
it's good that we don't take ourselves too seriously.
No.
Everyone
I know
thinks,
people
oh,
that
but
do.
the Goths is
I
such
know-
serious business. It's like,
I know
no.
goths that do. They're like, this is really serious, and I'm like, okay, motherfucker. Really?
It's a subculture that started with a parody song about a dead actor. How do you take
Honey,
that seriously?
You can't. Well, it's like industrial people, and some of them are like they take themselves way too seriously.
Goth has always had a sense of humor.
Meanwhile, my industrial act, I'm like banging on cookie sheets with dildos. But it works.
Very New Boughton.
Actually, that was something I was going to point out earlier, how they said putting what was it? They had a goth band, a pop Digma Berserk with Einsters Andy Neubauten and a goth band. I'm thinking, hang on, you're equating Einsters Andy Neubauten with the goth band already. What the hell? I mean, I like industrial, but I know if I use the dreaded G word when advertising any of my industrial nights here, the locals will lynch me for it. Certain locals. But because they know I know better, so I don't. I don't even like the term cybergoth.
Yeah, that was a big thing, early 2000s.
Yeah.
Let us play Pong.
G word, like God module.
I fucking hate that song. Oh my god.
Pong is the fucking worst.
Someone needs to make a parody of it with lots of farts. There's the Pong.
We are going to jump into the last section here, which is the quiz. And then everyone at home play along as well, because I love getting messages from people saying, hey, this is how I did. That's always fun to see how everyone else got
And the
along.
best part is Michelle isn't here, so everyone has a chance to win.
I'm probably not gonna win. I'm drunk.
I should also mention the whoever has the most points at the end of the quiz will be receiving a complimentary Cemetery Confessions t-shirt. So.
Yay.
Ooh, that'll be worth a few goth points.
All right, first question. Gary Newman said he would never write anything as good as what song by The Mission? Wasteland, Tower of Strength, Butterfly on a Wheel, or Severina?
Tower of Strength.
That is correct.
Oh, damn, y'all got the same time. Y'all got the same time.
I give it to Joe. Sorry.
Oh, did you say? I only heard Joe.
They said
I
at
think
the same
it's-
time.
I think it's because he's louder than you. So, all right, I'll give you a point.
Yay, my loud obnoxiousness is working for me.
Hey, the Texans are here, Joe. Okay, so you better watch
Yeah,
it.
but I'm
You better watch
Australian.
it.
We have to be allowed to scare off the drop bears.
Yeah, that's right.
Next question.
The mic away from me.
Roz Williams went on tour with Gatain Damone in Europe 1995 after breaking up which of his other bands? Premature Ejaculation, Shadow Project, Dacus Corroda, or EXP?
Shadow Project.
Nope.
Yeah, Shadow
EXP.
Project.
Nope.
Was premature ejaculation?
Nope.
Seriously?
Well, that just leaves the other one.
Yeah, who's going to say it first? You get a point.
Christian
I
Death?
forget what it is.
All right, no points awarded. Yeah, it's the one that I had actually never even heard of until I read this book. Dacus Corroda. And I don't even know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but
I'm glad I'm not the only one that got that wrong.
yeah. Next question. What was the original name for premature ejaculation? Happiest Place on Earth, Pre-Cum, Brutalist Butt Plug, Cock on a Leash.
Cock on a
You
leash.
said it'd be brutalist.
Pre-cum.
Cock on a leash. I think it's.
No, it was Happiest Place on Earth.
That kind of makes sense. The names are linked.
What was Andrew Eldritch's cat's name? Luna, Spiggy, Lucy,
Spiggy.
Smokey. Spiggy, that is correct.
Dr. Meow Valanche.
Spiggy was named after Spiggy Topes, the private eye character that satirized John Lennon and the Beatles. Little trivia there. What is the name of Jay Ashton from Gene Loves Jezebel's guitar? Shaggy, Velma, Daphne, or Scooby?
Scooby?
Velma?
Daphne.
It is Daphne.
Yes.
And I learned that at a Gene Loves Jezebel concert. He shared
I got
that
a point.
information.
Merman's a point. Yay.
Trent Reznor used to play synth in a band before Nine Inch Nails named what? Black Ice, Katzenjammer Cabaret, The Quakes, or Slam Bamboo?
Black Ice.
Slam Bamboo is correct.
Oh.
Slam Bamboo, yep.
Oh no, my God.
This is the one without multiple choice, so if nobody knows, I will just share this fun piece of trivia. Where did the band name Pompeii 99 come from? You can kind of infer, but everyone hates Valor, so I don't expect anyone to actually know.
Sure, I know.
Just the island? I don't know.
Duty, poo.
Dieter, I'm going to give you a point for the guess. I appreciate the participation. So you get a participation trophy because you're a millennial, and that's what we got, apparently, according to boomers. So as a kid, Valor was terrified by Nostradamus' prophecy, particularly the one that predicted the Great King of Terror would come in 1999. And after he visited Pompeii with his grandmother, that for him illustrated what the King of Terror might look like. So it was named after that imagined cataclysmic event.
Ah, that's exactly what I said.
That's what he said. That's exactly what he said.
Next question. What religion was Wayne Hussey raised in?
Catholicism.
Mormonism. Who said that?
Damn it.
Caroline. I thought so. Very good.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I read his book.
I thought so.
Next question. Bill Sassenberger, owner of Toxic Shock Records, said that Roz Williams' voice in Only Theater of Pain sounded like what cartoon character?
Elmer Fudd.
Elmer Fudd, that is correct.
Oh my God.
That's nice. Well done.
Damn. Clap 3 snaps for that. That was good.
Very good. All right. Roger Painter, aka Roz Williams, originally went by what punk moniker? Mange, Xerox Clone, Steve Tragic, Greg Phoenix.
Xerox Clone.
Mange.
Yep, so that's kind of a trick question. It is both Xerox Clone and Steve Tragic.
Wow. Oh my gosh.
What is this question? Oh. Okay, I guess I didn't write out oh, I see why I couldn't make multiple choice for this. So when the sisters first started touring in their now standard uniform of bizarre 70s paisley shirts, ripped jeans, sunglasses, and teased out hair, American fans combined the words goth and blank into this portmanteau to describe their look.
Goth chic?
No.
Goth polka.
Which?
Goth cowboy.
I mean, someone once called me Yeehaw Goth.
Yeehaw, I've been called that before.
Goth hippie.
There's a
Goth vacation.
Deidre,
the original vacay wear.
Deidre, you get a point. The answer is goth and hippie, which created the word groppy.
No way.
And occasionally the word gothadalia was used.
Gothadalia, I love that.
It's a bit croppy.
Eldritch is quoted as saying, quote, "The thing which prompted the writing of blank is very similar to something in LA which might have prompted the same song. So it's like LA and New York rolled into one," unquote.
Floodland?
This
The writing of Floodland?
This led to the rumor that he and Morrison had spent a night together, which led to the writing of what song? Train, A Rock and a Hard Place, After Hours, Body and Soul.
Body and Soul.
After Hours.
After Hours is correct.
This motherfucker right here.
A lot of sisters. I should put my sunglasses on to get in the mood. Sisters of Mercy played Sweden's Electric Garden in 1983 and was mocked by the crowd, who called Eldritch Ladderlappen, which means what in Swedish? Dark Mark, Not a Goth, A Bit Daft, isn't it? Or Batman? Batman is correct.
Caroline, it's not fair.
I don't know Swedish.
What
do you mean?
Sisters of Mercy's Temple of Love entered the UK indie charts October of 83 at number 2, only second to what song? Blue Monday by New Order, Karma Chameleon by Culture Club, True by Spandau Ballet, or Uptown Girl by Billy Joel?
Karma Chameleon.
True.
Blue Monday.
Blue Monday is correct.
That's right, 1988. Thank you, everyone.
Next song. What is the name of the... Should I get an applause sound effect too for you, Mary? Just for you only? What is the name of the photographer who took the iconic photograph of Roz Williams sitting on a tombstone that appears to bear the last name Fucker?
He tried to sue somebody one time.
Mick Mercer, Dave Thompson, Edward Culver, Anita Corbett.
Edward Culver.
I will award all of you 3 points, or all of you a point, because that was very close.
People were using his image without his consent. And he did. That was messed up. Oh, don't shake your head at me.
What is the typeface used for the Sisters of Mercy name?
Castellon Antique.
Holy shit.
Oh.
Damn it.
You know your typefaces, don't you?
Well, I use it for most of my memes.
Ah, very good.
I didn't remember it off the top of my head, but I was waiting for the...
I have it.
But you knew it.
Look at you. I guess being a meme lord got you a point on the Gothquisition, so I could get
And
you
we have it
somewhere.
hanging up as well.
Elitist Joe does Elitist.
What punk bands did Andy play drums in? Sorry, not bands. What punk band did Andy from the Sisters play drums in and record an EP with before the Sisters of Mercy? Echoes of Silence, Screaming Abdabs, Screaming for Emily, or The Arid Sea?
Arid Sea? Or it's a trick question. He actually had a drum machine.
Oh. This is
So you
Screaming
get a
for
point
Emily.
for the joke. No. You're both wrong.
Damn it. Oh, wait, no, that was someone else.
Abdabs?
Abdabs is correct. Joe coming from behind, which I've heard he's a fan of. Sorry. What language was Andy...
Yeah, that hasn't happened before, has it?
German.
What language was Andy studying at university? Italian, Chinese, Russian, or German?
German.
Chinese.
Chinese is correct.
Oh, God damn.
Who else said Chinese? Caroline? Was that you?
Caroline, yeah.
Yes.
But I think I was a bit slower.
I'll give you a point. Before Fangs on Fur, the band was named what?
Ooh.
Haunted Fucking, Silver Daggers, F-Boy, F-Girl, Experimental Dental School.
F-Boy, F-Girl.
Yeah, I think Dietra and ATAC got that at the same time. That's correct. All right, this question is a little long. It is multiple choice. In 1987, Bauhaus covered the song Final Solution by the artist with Murphy. By this artist, so let me start that over. In 1987, Bauhaus covered the song Final Solution by this artist, with Murphy saying in an interview with WNYU-FM earlier in the day that, quote, "It's a great song. When they did it, it was so rough and raw and falling apart and had a real quality which reminded me of Bauhaus. In the wake of Dolly's Car, critics were writing me off for dead and labeling me, putting me in one of those holes, over-experimental, over-indulgent. The first two lines of the song, Girls Won't Touch Me 'Cause I Got Misdirection, Living at Night Isn't Helping My Complexion, I thought fit in with the sort of erotic character that people think I am or that I was, unquote. Who was the post-punk artist that Murphy covered? Gang of Four, The Slits, Pere Ubu, Human League.
Gang of Four.
Nope.
The Slits?
Nope.
Human League.
Gang of Four. Oh, no, you already said that.
Nope.
There's only one left, and I forget what it is again.
Was it
This is what I get for being the oldest one here.
I'm not saying it, so. All right, moving on. The answer was Pere Ubu. Post-punk.
How can we remember that?
Post-punk dude.
Of course. That's the man.
The one that nobody ever talks about. But they talked about him in, what was that book? I can't remember the name of. Post-punk something something. All right, moving on. Where does the album name Only Theater of Pain come from? Oh, shit, I didn't do multiple choice for this either.
The toilet. It actually is only TP of Pain.
All right, good enough.
Place.
I feel like I've read this sometime, but I forget.
Yeah, I think this was actually in Phantoms is where I got this from.
Pain of...
Oh, yeah, I've read that. So.
Yeah, I can't imagine why you wouldn't remember that from the 900 fucking pages of that book.
Took me months to get through it.
It comes from the novel Rushes by John Ritchie, which is set in a leather and western bar which explores gay and queer sexuality. Okay, although the scene featuring Bauhaus in the movie The Hunger was set in New York, the club they filmed in was actually in London, where Bauhaus had previously played. What was the name of the club? Heaven, Hell, Purgatory, Asylum.
Asylum?
Hell, right?
Purgatory.
Purgatory. Hell.
All incorrect.
Heaven.
Oh my God.
Heaven, who said it first? I think
me,
Okay,
Caroline.
Now we're all
Caroline.
incorrect.
There we go. All right. What's this next question?
I've just done too many drugs that I can't remember anything.
That's okay. I have too much ADHD and drugs.
I'm just
And also that- also that-
This isn't really fair, but if anyone comes up with a clever answer, I guess you can get a point as well. On the inside of The Sky's Gone Out, Bauhaus poses a riddle. When is a door not a door? What's the answer?
When it's adorable.
Yeah, that'll do it. The answer is when it's a duchess, and it refers to Isidore Duchess, the 19th century symbolist. Can't imagine why nobody knew that answer.
Of course.
So what you're saying is adorable.
Yeah. Bill Sassenberger of Toxic Shock started a band with the drummer of Manson Youth to take the piss out of Roz for stealing from him while living in Toxic Shock. What was the name of the band? Bell Hollow, The Cravats, Flowers in the Dustbin, or Muslim Birth?
The Cravats.
Cravats, yeah.
Nope.
Flowers in the dustbin.
Nope.
Valhalla?
Nope.
Jesse and the Rippers.
No, I like that though. All right, the answer was Muslim Birth.
Muslim birth. That's what I thought.
Yeah, it is a lot. Before Peter Kent formed 4AD Records with Ivo Watts, he managed this record store on King's Road in London. Beggar's Banquet, Toxic Shock, Project.
Project.
Toxic Shock?
Beggar's Banquet is correct.
I was going to say that. I thought, no, that's too obvious. But no, it was the obvious answer.
Yes.
Sometimes this happens.
What model of drum machine was Dr. Avalanche?
Oh.
808.
Oh, geez, I know this.
I know this
I've
too.
got one.
Do you really?
It's a Korg something.
What's that 808?
Although, wait, were there multiple iterations of Dr.
There's
Avalanche?
multiple
though?
Dr.
Yeah, there
Avalanche.
are, isn't there?
Yeah,
I'm gonna throw
Right
this.
now, Dr. Avalanche is a laptop.
I'm gonna throw this question out.
Yeah.
Because I think
An
just
Apple laptop.
yeah, I'm gonna throw that question out. I think that was I think that might have been the first one, but since I didn't write this down specifically enough, I'm going to... What I have is a boss DR55, hence the doctor, but I'll throw it out. So I think this was the first version of it, but I didn't specify, so. Roz Williams' dad was which of the following, or performed which of the following macabre professions? Mortuary assistant, priest, taxidermist, crematory technician.
Crematory technician.
Taxidermist?
Taxidermist is correct.
Close. One's taxidermy for humans, the other one's taxidermy for animals.
And then finally, Ian of Death Cult told this punk band known for wearing day-glow clothing and performing under UV blacklight that, quote, "This is the big time now. You're playing with us at venues like this," unquote, even though this band had headlined the same venue the week before. Who is the band? Red Wedding, Din Glorious, Scarlet's Remains, or Rubella Ballet?
Rubella Ballet?
Rubella Ballet. Mary got that one.
You guys are first. We said at the same time.
I think you got ATAC by a couple seconds.
Ooh.
All right. So the final portion of the quiz is going to be a Name That Band quiz. I'm going to play like a 30-second or so clip from a Sisters of Mercy sound-alike band. And whoever can name the band will get a point. And you can get a bonus point if you can name the song.
I'm so bad at this.
Let's do it this way. Wait until after I've stopped playing the song, because the way it works on Zoom is I can't actually hear you if you talk when the song is playing. So have a think for like 30 seconds or however long the song is playing. And then once it stops, go ahead and shout out what you think it is. I was going to do this Jeopardy style where you could like wager your points and get or lose your points, but that's going to be too much math for me. So we'll just do it. You get a point for the band and a point for the song if you know that. Okay, so let me, we'll open up the first song. I'll play 30 seconds, and once the song ceases,
Eyes of the Nightmare Jungle, Shadow Dance.
That's correct.
God damn it!
Good job,
You're
Joe.
so fast.
Fast.
Yeah.
Well done.
Damn.
I had that after the first riff.
God, you're fast.
Yeah.
All right. Very
I
well
play
done.
that song a lot.
Next song.
Merciful Nuns.
That is correct. That is not correct. I'm sorry.
Oh, God damn it.
Merry Thoughts.
Merry Thoughts. That is correct.
That's
I can't name the song though.
The M confused me. I love that YouTube video because it has B footage from my summer as a goth playing over this song. It's just ridiculous.
Oh, dear.
Like who thought that was the yeah. Well, anyway. All right, next song. Yeah, I might play a little more than 30 seconds just to get to the vocals for some of these because it might be helpful. All right, next song.
back on a younger life. All our plans and all our schemes that all fell through when God.
Midnight Configuration?
Good guess, but no. If it helps, the lead singer looks like Ronan from V&V Nation.
Icon?
No, another great guess, though. It is Gothzilla, The Edge of Forever, the band with the most... with the dumbest fucking band name.
Yeah.
Well, at least they're not like Goth Minister that don't even sound goth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We know Goth Minister.
Sure. I'm not familiar with it.
He's the one with like the death metal makeup, right? Like the bleeding black
Awesome.
eyes thing. All right, next song.
You're a body of an alien being, a feeling deep inside, channeling electron, the goddess that's on me to shine.
The Flatfield?
No.
Merciful Nuns.
Merciful Nuns.
Yeah.
The guy who actually looks like Eldritch.
Yes. I saw that. I knew I'd get the Merciful Nuns eventually.
Yeah, you have to. You have to.
Yeah.
All right, next song.
Take my heart, forget the rest of the great white staircase. She took off her dress.
These are getting harder now.
Fuck,
I feel like
know
I
this
should know
damn
that
song.
one.
I love this song, but
Yeah.
I can't think of.
Play it quietly in the background, maybe. Yeah.
Dreadful Shadows?
No, good guess. It is, just for the sake of time, it is Kiss the Blade, The Party's Begun.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kiss the Blade.
I should have known that. Fuck.
Hey, none of our brains work. It's 2022. Who fucking cares? Next song. And these are gonna get...
Nosferatu.
Nosferatu, that is correct. Graveyard Shift by Nosferatu. All right, next one. Here we go.
Chant of Maldoror?
Oh, good guess. No. That's actually...
Daughters of Bristol?
No, another good guess.
The bass is good. That's all I know.
I mean, this sounds like a sister song. This sounds like it's
Yeah,
just the
it does.
sisters. Which would be a good prank. I didn't think of doing that. Not that it would. Yeah.
Putting a sister's one in just to throw everyone off. That'd be funny.
This is the song Walk the Wire by Miasma, who I've
Ooh.
never even heard of before. So
I've heard of
haven't heard that.
Miasma. Yeah.
I heard that.
I know the band. I just didn't know the song.
Yeah. All right. Next track.
I don't know them very well, though.
Rosetta Stone.
Mission.
Rosetta Stone. Yes. Very, very good. All right. Next track. Wait. Not that song. Wrong song. Hang on. Here we go.
You cry for the view from your window. You watch as the rivers run dry. You lay waste the mountains and the meadows, and then you wait for a voice to say to you, a voice is calling, calling. Your world is falling down. Can't you see it's falling down?
That's just a great fucking song. They said the name of the song in the song, if anybody caught that. But that is the Marionettes. Track is called Damien. I fucking love that song. All right, next track. How many of these we got? We got like 3 more. Here we go. This is one's hard. I'll give you a little bit longer on this one.
Holding on to a rope of sand, my sudden baptism beginning to end. I start to plunge, I start my descent to the end of my chapter. I don't pretend. Take me down, 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 take me down to the bottom.
Angels of Liberty?
No, that does sound like Angels of Liberty, though.
The Garden of Delight?
No, another good guess. That band is, I'm going to have, that is Raven Cathouse.
I've never heard of them.
Heard
Yeah,
Not
neither have I.
familiar, no.
Called Drown is the name of the song. All right, next track.
Strange expression in your eyes, I feel here
end. I run away from you with tears in my eyes, and darkness comes over the land. I run away from you with tears in my eyes. Is this the end? Is this the end?
Really good.
That's less Sisters-esque and more just like 90s goth, I think, but
It's really good though. I like it.
yeah.
Prophetess? I'm not sure.
No, it does start with a P. That is Preachers of Sadness.
Good band name.
And this is the last one. Waiting for them to sing. Any guesses?
I like it.
Morbid Poetry?
Ooh, I don't even know who that is.
Oh, they're good.
Or The Daughters of Bristol, is that this one?
Oh, no, it is not. This is any other guesses? This is The Wake RSV. The Storm is Coming is the track. Very good job, everyone. Where is my... Okay, so... One, two, three. It's adding up. Okay, yes, well, my my shipping and handling budget is very happy because Dietra beat out ATAC there just by a couple points. So congratulations.
Thank you,
on
thank
winning this year's GothQuisition.
Nice.
Nice.
Thank
Good
you.
job.
Thank you.
And
I'll send him a small because he already has one.
And yeah, thank all of you for a lot of you at the last minute for agreeing to come on and hang out and take the piss out of the internet.
Oh, we had a lot of
Thank
fun.
you.
Yeah, thank you for inviting
Yeah.
us. We appreciate it so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Anytime.
you call, we will come. Anytime.
Yes.
Yeah, I will have links in the show notes for everyone's various projects that you can all go check out. Again, thank you so much for hanging out. It was a lot of fun.
Thank you so much for
Yes,
having us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Until
Yeah.
number 7.
I'm going nowhere. I'm standing still, and I'm looking for a new direction. Feeling again like I'm lost and found, and there's no way to deny it. 'Cause tonight I feel that it's gonna happen. TSG, super drunk. S for stupid and G for goth. Drunk, stupid and goth. PSG, super drunk. S for stupid and G for PSG, super drunk. S for stupid and G for PSG, super drunk. S for stupid and G for drunk. Stupid and PSG, super drunk. S for stupid and G for PSG, super drunk. S for stupid and G for PSG, super drunk. S for stupid and G for drunk. Stupid
That was Drunk, Stupid, and Goth by the band Vendemian. But it's not the end of the Gothquisition yet. You know I can't let you go without a little surprise. And that surprise comes in the form of a dramatic reenactment of letters to the editor from a variety of zines from the early 2000s. Sent in by fellow elitists and gatekeepers complaining about the goth scene at the time, which may give some perspective that there is nothing new under the sun. And this dramatic reenactment is brought to us by Ryan of the band Witch Hands, and it is closed off by a snippet of an interview from everyone's favorite gothic rock band Nosferatu. And then we'll close out the show with the track Gothic Yard Sale from none other than Alex Reed himself. Thank you for staying with us. I hope you enjoyed this episode. The Gothquisition, of course, is here to remind you that unlike Sebastian Columbine, goth is not a phase, and it is here to stay. And whether you're trying to create a goth to alt-right pipeline like the poser Kat Von D, or you simply don't understand what goth music is, like that one YouTuber that does his makeup like he was just bukkakied by Vision Video, Combi Christ, and Cyclone 9, who probably thinks Ruby Gloom is a goth band. The Gothquisition will be here with our Ausgang, Creaming Jesus, and Din Glorious albums, gatekeeping the road to goth, just where you need us, and when you need us. Though we'll probably be too drunk to respond to your text messages. So with that, Ryan, take it away.
Since when did the music end up being a backseat driver in the land of goth? No, seriously. While people consider the music to be a star atop the tree of goth, rock results outnumbering that of goth fashion. Everybody is so obsessed with fashion, to where you end up having to pay extra at certain clubs if you don't meet their dress code requirements. How did goth and death rock go from punk turning more darker and introverted, giving birth to new music styles, to fashion shows, elegant this, right look that? Anna, California.
I think we can all agree that everyone would be a lot happier if they spent more money on things that matter, records, and less on things that don't. Corsets, Gang of Four reunions. Lakini Malik. My main point is do whatever you like, but you best keep track of your roots, my friends. They start way back when it was called post-punk. That's right, kids. Post-punk and goth are the same thing, and everyone made their own bitchin' clothes rather than paying through the rectum for them on the internet. We made our own band shirts with spray paint and bleach. The industrial music we listened to involved recordings of dogs eating raw meat and setting piles of used tampons on fire, not poking at a keyboard and then standing back with your arms crossed. It's not a sin to be into these offshoots, but it's a sin to say 1983 is irrelevant and redundant. The old school will never die because we're too set in our ways to allow it to. Because of how superficial and multifaceted the scene has become, we old schoolers, both young and old, need to stick close with our roots and be loud and proud so nobody forgets it. Don't be afraid of speaking your mind, because that's what the death rock scene was founded on. Good music, creativity, not being afraid of offending people. Strawfoot, Oregon. I have some thoughts I'd like to share regarding Marilyn Manson and his impact on the scene. I don't believe he had diddly squat to do with the decline of Western Gothization. Sure, Manson is a jackass if I ever saw one, but he's a damn smart jackass who knows how to sell his own brand of weirdness. You gotta respect him for that one. His fans, the Mansonites, are not so intelligent. Much like the emos are trying to give Joy Division a bad reputation. Over my undead body, the Mansonites give us death rockers and or goths a bad name. We all wear lots of black and funny makeup, and we all think cannibalism is cool, just for different reasons. The Mansonites are a bunch of dumb kids who don't know Roz's Christian death from Valor's. Some of them will start foraging further into the bowels of darkness and uncover his influences, while the others will grow out of it and wash the angst out of their hair. My belief regarding the decline of the scene is this. The offshoots of Goth are dragging us down and spreading the original ideas so far and so thin you can hardly tell where they were. It's not that people shouldn't be allowed to express themselves, but the majority of the scene is overrun with fashionistas who care more about hair extensions than they do about music. And what music they do care about is programmed drivel with monotone vocals that any 12-year-old could churn out. How else can you explain the sisters clearing dance floors? I've seen it happen. In all-age clubs. We all have a whole new group of people who think it's unacceptable to cop an attitude if you're going to call yourself goth. Well, shit, Ma. I guess I ought to go buy me some ass-bearing miniskirts and pink furry boots then. All this business about EBM and cybergoth is disconcerting. Don't get me wrong. Forward-thinking music is great, but if you want to start lumping a Patigma Berserk in with Einzelranda Neubauten and Red Lorry, Yellow Lorry, you might consider sitting on your thumbs and rotating, please and thank you.
With all them fuckwit vampire freak kids in the huge pants that listen to Slipknot or Korn and so-called goths who think EBM and future pop is anything other than glorified techno, it's good to know there are still people who remember the roots of the scene and want to tell people about music that actually represents the true scene. As always, the media has no clue, so I'm glad somebody will be showing people what real goth is all about. Great job, guys! Jacob, Texas.
Nosferatu, what's it all about? It's our interpretation of Gothic rock, heavily influenced by Graf Orlok, the vampire from Bremen, 1920s Germany plus Hammer horror movies. What are your thoughts on playing music nowadays? When the band first started in the late 1980s, Lad and I were looking for careers in the industry. We had potential to make the music we liked, and hoped that we could secure a deal with a major record label and conquer the world. Seriously, this is true. Whether we were deluded, overambitious, or had egos the size of China is debatable, but ultimately we gained recording and licensing deals that few goth bands in the industry would get. We wanted to make the best music we could and push the boundaries of goth. Remember, UK goth peaked in about 1982 and was dead by 1985. We persevered and rode the second wave of UK Gothic rock in the west coast of America in 1992, 1993, and 1994, along with other brilliant bands like Screaming Marionettes, Rosetta Stone, Children on Stan. Does it feel the same as it did in the 90s? No, of course not. We were at our commercial peak between 1992 and 1998. We sold a lot of albums and singles in that period, but a lot of our audience moved on. Once most people leave school, college, university, whatever, they move on. When they start working full-time, they move on. When they have children, they move on. We never did. We stuck with Goth through thick and thin. We were lambasted by music journalists. We sold out the Marquee in London 4 times with crowds 800 strong, yet the monotony maker would rarely mention us. To me, they appeared more interested in indie bands such as Jacob's Mouse, the Hypnotics, Telescopes, who had trouble pulling an audience larger than 2. Where are those bands now? Have they released 11 albums, 8 singles, and appeared on 48 compilation albums? Have they played over 300 gigs in 14 countries?
Gothic yard sale. Welcome to my Gothic yard sale. Behold the glory of my stuff. Come to my Gothic yard, it's not that hard. Just prove that you're cool enough. Are you worthy of a VHS of The Crow? It's exceedingly rare, I'll have you know. And don't call it a movie, this is art. You probably won't get it unless you're smart. Are you worthy of my vinyl pants, in which I did the vinyl dance? They can be yours for $50 if you can name the best album by Clan of Zymox. I'm gatekeeping at my Gothic yard sale. Behold the glory of my stuff. Come to my Gothic yard, it's not that hard. Just prove that you're cool enough. My Sandman comic book. I know that Neil Gaiman's famous now, but look, see, I was a fan before you were alive. No, I don't have change for a 5. Are you worthy of my scratched CDs from when I DJ'd in 2003? The price is fair, so don't call me a jerk. What other sailor's got a Poptigma berserk? At my Gothic yard sale, there should be way more people here, 'cause I posted on LiveJournal, and I'm playing Tears for Fears, the first album. And it's far too sunny weather to appreciate all my boots of pleather and the velvet poet shirt I wore to the 98 Bauhaus reunion tour. Are you worthy of it? Are you worthy of it? No, I can't go on. Are you worthy of it? You're not worthy of it. No, get off my lawn. Come back to my Gothic yard sale and tell me that I didn't waste my youth worshipping the Sisters of Mercy in suburban New Jersey. I need a little